You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold, episode 23. Today we welcome Tamara Freeze. How are you?
I'm good, Ben. Thank you.
Good. Well, welcome. And we did feature you October 15th, 2020. And you had a great story. So I'm glad we could bring you back and do a podcast. So tell me, you grew up in Russia. Tell me what that was like and when you moved to the state. We're just going to jump right into your lawyer story, and then we'll get into the other stuff later. So tell me what that was like and how long you were there.
So yes, I was born and raised in Russia in a city called Chelyabinsk. It's in the Ural Mountains, kind of in the middle of Russia. Kind of really cold place. You can compare it to Chicago. Hot and humid summers, really cold, windy winters. So it's an super industrial city, kind of like Detroit of Russia.
Okay.
Lots of factories. Yeah. So most of the residents were factory workers. My parents were engineers at a local radio factory. I was there until I was 18. I finished high school and then went on to study in the United States.
That's amazing. And you went to some really good schools. You went to out in California. I mean, you're in Irvine, California, correct? Orange County. And you went to some amazing top-notch schools out there. What was that like?
Well, that's it's an immigrant story, immigrant mentality a little bit. I had to, I was kind of obsessed with name schools at the time.
Okay.
Not anymore, as I'm practicing as a lawyer. When I first got to the States, I went to community college, local community college, Santa Monica College, and in California, a lot of community colleges transfer students to UCs like UCLA or Berkeley, if you do well in a community college. So I have to say that I was kind of an overachiever. I was gunning for top grades. School was everything. I was obsessed with getting into UCLA. I was really kind of like grabbing the top grades at UCLA to focus only on top law schools.
Wow. And this was your second language though, right? You taught yourself or you picked up English or?
Yeah. So while in the meantime, I had to learn English. English was not my first language. So it was really difficult. I had to study a lot. I really got basically what I wanted. I got into Berkeley Law, which was, my dream. And it was the highlight of my, I guess, academic accomplishment. And that's how I basically became a law student at Berkeley Law.
So, and your folks are back in Russia at this time?
They are. They're still in Russia. I don't know anybody. We're not family of lawyers.
Wow.
I kind of, didn't really know what I wanted to do with a political science degree at UCLA, but big fan of Ally McBeal.
Okay, yeah. So that's actually the big question. And you did discuss Ally McBeal in your story. When was the moment that you were like, okay, I'm going to be a lawyer?
The moment was when I was watching with my roommates at UCLA, the Ally McBeal show. And I was just really inspired. It's kind of funny. I mean, she's a character by her personality, by her arguments in court. And of course, all of that is fake. But I thought that this is something I can do. I was a political science student. So as you probably know, poli-sci students, most of them go to law school or careers that will relate to law. So I kind of naively thought that my life as a lawyer is going to be like Ally McBeal. And I looked up how much lawyers were making, and I was really impressed that, well, this is not bad. It looks like they're making quite a bit of money and sounds like a career for the first generation immigrants to get into.
Wow, good for you. So before we get into the really impressive plaintiff side employment firm that you started, can you tell us a little bit about getting into like a big law firm and like what that was like?
Yeah, so at Berkeley, I kind of quickly realized that I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, to put it
Oh, come on.
mildly. It was kind of
Nonsense. Come on.
not a law review material. Let me put it that way. My classmates were just spectacular. We're talking about Harvard, Stanford grads, and highly accomplished people. And I knew that I'm not going to be the top student. I wasn't trying to get a Supreme Court clerkship. I just needed a job with big law. And we were groomed that way, to be honest.
Right.
Berkeley Law, it's a top 10 law school. Most of the employers were big law employers, and it was really easy to get a job, a summer job, because you're at the top law school and you get multiple offers back then. And so at first I practiced at Little Mandelson. That's an employment boutique in San Francisco. I fell in love with employment law.
Okay.
I loved the human stories. That
Right.
somebody, was working and then things don't go well and then they get fired, terminated. And so I really loved the subject matter that you kind of deal with the human factor. And then I got a job at another big law at Bryan Cave in Orange County. My husband and I moved to Orange County, still doing employment defense, still enjoying the subject matter. But at some point, I started realizing that I have a plaintiff's heart.
Okay. Yep.
And
But
yeah,
you learned it from both sides, and like you learned it in the defense way first, and then you knew the tactics, and it makes it it's good to go over to the plaintiff side if that's.
it is. It's great training to start on a defense
Right.
side with a big law. I was kind of two things bothered me. One was I thought that I started feeling that I was on the wrong side of the bar. And then I also, frankly, money, and we'll talk about that. While it was paid really well, Ben, because it's the standard big law salary, $180,000 back then, and plus bonus, that was it. No matter how hard you work, you can't make more at the big law.
Wow, look at you. So you're looking for more than the big two
Looking
bills
for
there.
more.
Wow. All right.
We want more. So I was looking, and this is how actually that transpired. I was looking at settlement agreements as part of my job, employment settlement agreements, and I realized that the plaintiffs' lawyers, the lawyers on the other side, were getting 40-45% of the settlement. That is the
Right.
contingency practice.
And you're like, I could do that. Like I could represent these people.
Yeah, and I was looking at these lawyers, and I was thinking they didn't go to top 10 law school. They did not have a lead education.
Wow. Okay.
They,
All right.
and they're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in settlements, and I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? If they can do it, I can do it. And basically, it's simple math. You only need to settle $400,000 settlement to make the same salary as you were making at a big law at 180.
So you need basically like one big case a year, and then you're good. That's your base, and then you're going to go and try to settle some more, and then you're going to make more money.
Exactly. So you can either make.
So you were like, so people like want big law jobs like crazy. I mean, how, like, just to pedal back and then we'll go forward. But how many hours were you working at the big law?
I'm trying to remember, Ben. I think it was 20. How much is it? 2,200? I don't remember what was
like a week. Like, I mean, what was
a week. So we had to put in 160 hours a month. So that, I think, isn't it 8 hours a day? So about 10 hours a day then, give or take. You have to work 9 or 10 hours a day. 9 if you're efficient.
Okay.
So it's a lot. Yeah.
But in big law, you get like a snack cart, right? Like if you're there late, they roll the snack cart by, and you can pick what you want, and then they drive you home if you're there after dark or something.
Yeah, you can take a cab. Like in San Francisco, you can take a cab and the law firm will comp you. But
Okay.
they're stingy too. At some point, law firms like, well, we don't want to pay for associate cabs anymore, so we're gonna cut that benefit.
Even they cut the snack cart too?
They cut the croissants.
Okay, all right. So anyway, all right. So more serious. I'm sorry. So
No problem.
you go, so you're super motivated by like what you see on the other side of things. And that's tremendous. I mean, that in itself is a great story. So tell us about starting your own plaintiff side employment firm.
Yeah, so I didn't want to resign because that way you don't get a severance. And we were approaching the economic downturn 2009. One day in February 2009, I get this email from the managing partner, was sent to other four associates to meet with them next day. So it was economic downturn, layoffs were everywhere. And so I knew what that meant. Next day, I met with the managing partner in my office and the litigation partner, I believe. They walked to my office and they said, Tamara, we're so sorry. It's unfortunate, but we have to let you go. And I was trying so hard to not to smile. And I remember I was simply reached out.
So you were like waiting for it. You were at home. You were at home, like talking to your husband. You're like, they just need to lay me off, like so I could.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because if you get laid off, you get a severance.
Now, do you think your employer knew that that's like the path that you wanted to take, or what?
I don't think they knew they were going to switch sides.
Okay.
I think they could see that I lost interest, the enthusiasm. I think they also needed to cut associates at that point. Yeah. So no hard feelings there. It kind of worked out for both of us. Yeah, I took the severance package. You can also apply for unemployment and under those conditions in California. So you
Did
get
you do
paid.
that?
Yeah. So that helped me to start my own practice. And I
so let me just ask you this from the beginning. Were you I mean, big law, the myth or whatever, like people work like 80 hours a week. Like is that how you had to work or at your practice? Is that what it was like to start it?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say I work these crazy hours. I think you work what you have to in terms of billables. So you do work like a standard day and then you go home like at 6 or 7 or whatever. But the problem is not that. The problem is if you have a summary judgment or some kind of a really heavy litigation deadline, then it hits you and you work really crazy hours and then you kind of go back to the normal. So litigation, you don't work 80 hours, at least not at the law firms I worked, all the time.
Okay.
You work standard 8 hours, billable 8 hours, that's what's expected. But then if you have to work on something really heavy assignment with a deadline, a motion practice that's due next day, or summary judgment, which is really litigation heavy, and then you do work there. It's not unusual to work really crazy hours, wait late in the evenings, come to work at 5 in the morning and work weekends. But it's not like that all the time.
And I think, when it's your own firm, I think there's more of a vested interest in like having, doing it at all hours. I mean, I'm running this Lawyer Stories community and platform, and I wake up to messages at all hours, but I love it. Like I'll always respond and I'll, when I can. And it's like a passion. So I think like, I sort of understand maybe a little, I mean, you're a big law firm. So like if you get emails from a client or whatever, like if it's yours, if it's like your ownership, like you definitely, it's not really, they say like, find something you love and it's like not work. It's sort of, it's work, but you love it. So you're going to want to help people at all times.
Exactly.
So it's just part of your life. It's not quantified by the amount of hours that you work, right?
Right, exactly. And as plaintiff lawyers, we don't bill, right? We work on contingency. We still keep track of our hours, but there is no goal.
Right. So one of the things I wanted to ask is like the financial basics of like running a plaintiff side practice that anybody out there might want to know about.
Yeah, so for the plaintiff, and I do plaintiff employment law, which is basically discrimination, harassment, retaliation cases, whistleblower cases. The way that you work on contingency. And we take 45% of the settlement or verdict. And if the
Really?
case goes to trial, it's 50%.
So that's more than like a personal injury lawyer, right? Who takes 30? Is that how come? Why is that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And we get this question from potential clients all the time. How come it's 45 and not 33 in personal injury? PI is different. They're regulated. Their fees are regulated by the state bar. So employment cases are longer, more litigation heavy, more labor intensive, and you can, but you're not going to be a great lawyer, but the volume doesn't work. Whereas in PI, you can have
Right.
the volume of cases, and
Maybe you could settle it easier with insurance, like smaller cases.
oh yeah, with employment would put in a lot of work, doing discovery, motion practice,
Right. So how do
trial.
you, if you're taking a contingency fee in what you recover in employment, like how do you get that firm like rolling? Like how do you fund that? Like if you're waiting for like a year or two with a case that, yeah, you might make a ton of dough, but you know,
Right.
you're waiting. Like how is that? How do you
So
do that?
that's probably the biggest obstacle for
Okay. All right.
people to start their own plaintiff side practice. You need to be okay or plan for the first 6 to 8 months for not being paid, because it might take, sometimes you take a case and you send a demand letter and you settle it in 2 months and you're fine. Sometimes it takes 2 years for the case to settle, and you just don't know. You just have to take a few cases, but you have to understand that you will probably not going to have any income, or be very low income for the first year while you're developing your practice. So at some point you'll have a steady stream of your cases. The clients will call you, take the case, one will settle, another client will be signed up. So you will have the pipeline. At some point you'll build it, and you have to believe in that. You can't just give up. It will happen. But in the first year, you have to plan
Yeah.
for
So
the.
like the first person I ever featured on Lawyer Stories in 2017, that's at lawyer_stories, was a friend of mine from where I grew up. I grew up the other side of the country in Portland, Maine. And he went out and he did plaintiff side employment law. I definitely want to like introduce you to. He's out in I don't think he's not doing it anymore, but he's out in Arizona now. And I know, I had the feeling like sometimes, maybe it could be slow at first. Like, do you take like other type of cases while you're waiting for? You just keep pushing with the
Yeah, because there's no shortage of clients in this area.
Yeah.
I can tell you that there is no shortage of clients. People get fired all the time. They call all the time. Many of them don't have a case. Like, look, let me be honest with you. Most people that call our office, we decline them. They just don't have a case that we would take on contingency and invest. Well, you will get the steady stream of income, but you really need to work towards it. So my decision was not to branch out to other areas of law and just kind of wait for the right income. I got kind of lucky 6 months after I opened the shop. I did settle a pregnancy discrimination case for $400,000.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like that was my question. Like how much can, plaintiff attorneys make? What was the year? I'm sorry. When was the year that you started?
2009. I got laid off in 2009 and I started my firm.
So how much can, an average attorney pull in who's doing plaintiff?
Okay, so that depends where they are and exactly what you do. But in California, sky's the limit. I can tell you, I am good friends with a lot of plaintiff lawyers here. They're, PI lawyers, brain injury lawyers, employment lawyers. We get multi-million-dollar awards. And one lawyer actually put it this way: short of drug dealing, this is the best paid profession there is.
Really?
It's kind of blunt. And he was talking about the plaintiff side litigation. We're talking about Plaintiff side wage and hour settlements, right? Those are good. Class action settlements. We all know about, Erin Brockovich. We know about wage and hour class action
Yeah.
settlements. Those are in the millions. It is a contingent practice. And verdicts and settlements can be in the millions. So you can become a millionaire pretty fast. And the more verdicts you have, the more settlements you have, the higher is the value of your cases that you handle, because the insurance companies do put a lot of value on who they're dealing with, the plaintiff lawyer. There's a big enigma, sort of how much plaintiff lawyers are paid. And what really irritates me is that a lot of law students, and the sort of, I don't know, they don't have that information, how much you can make on the plaintiff side. They look at those nose-bleeding big law salaries and they think, wow, this is the best.
But for everybody, that's like the dream, like, because it's so competitive in law school that people, they're saying like, oh, well, look at me, I'm going to go work at the biggest firm and pull in $160, and they're not really looking at, well, I could be a plaintiff's, even a personal injury lawyer, or a plaintiff side employment lawyer. Like, I always thought I was going to do PI, like, because I loved torts and I loved product liability, and I thought those were the coolest cases. Like, so I thought I was going to get into that. Like, I thought, no problem, but like, life has twists and turns. So yeah, I mean, I think that's how it's presented. That's why I personally think mentors are huge, like people to sort of guide you and tell you like what's what in the profession. But yeah, that's great information. Like, so what would you say the best thing about your job is?
The trials, the jury trials, that's something I have a great passion for. And when you're a plaintiff lawyer, you kind of have to embrace the fact that you're going to be a trial lawyer, regardless of your abilities. And I can talk for another hour about what little correlation there is between the charisma and the standard, stereotype of a trial lawyer, and what you in real life, that you can get these big verdicts, even if you don't even have to be an amazing lawyer, you don't have to be an amazing public speaker. But I love trials because that's when you kind of see in action and you have juries, and you can hit really big verdicts with the right case and with the right client, well beyond what you were thinking. So in Los Angeles, we have a plaintiff friendly jury pool. Like, I'll be honest. And California is very diverse. There are some counties where I would never take a case or take the case to trial because the jury pool is very conservative.
Do you have like a memorable case?
I do have one of the cases. The recent one was $25 million verdict.
How'd you get that? So like, if you get a verdict like that, are you just assuming they're going to appeal?
Yeah, and they did appeal, so we did settle. We settled after the verdict.
So if you get a 25 million verdict, you could settle for like 12 or something, or
it did settle for less. So, but they did appeal, and we did even have to do a structured settlement because it was a large settlement. Structured settlement is something that, as a plaintiff lawyer, we just talked about, there might be ups and downs in terms of your income stream, right? One year you can make a lot of money, next year it may not be as successful. So when you do get a big verdict or settlement, it makes a lot of sense to structure it and get paid sort of like an annuity type of a settlement every month. So that way, regardless of the economy, regardless of the state of your business, you have that steady income coming in from the verdict that you won several years before.
Right.
Yeah, in that case, the defense wouldn't settle for the number that we wanted. We had a most amazing, charismatic client. And this is what really matters in jury trials. If the jury, they love your client, they will vote for your client.
So it's more the client than the attorney, like.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's something I want to talk about, because there is a stereotype that there's a false perception that and to be a trial lawyer, then you really need to be this charismatic, amazing public speaker. It's not about you, what I've learned. I mean, of course, it helps if you have certain trial skills. It does help if you're a storyteller. It does help if you can connect with the jury. But if you have a client that is off-putting and the jury doesn't like them, it doesn't matter what a great lawyer you are. I don't think the jurors are going to be inclined to give a lot of money to a client that they don't like, and vice versa. You may not even have a great case, employment
Right.
case. But if your client is amazing and connects with the jury, charismatic, a storyteller, then your trial skills as a lawyer really matter a lot less
Right.
in that situation.
So that means they have to be testifying, right? Like they have to, yeah.
Right.
It's usually the defendants who don't testify, though. If there's like a defense, like in a criminal case or whatever. So that's totally different. So I don't mean to bring this off track, but yeah, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, we do make, we take depositions of defendants, and we do, plaintiffs goes first at trial. So we do put on defense witnesses first, and we do our best to portray them as villains and unhelpful and
Right.
people who do illegal.
Do you have any videos of you like doing a trial? Like I'd love to see you doing a trial.
I don't have any videos.
Okay. Well, if you do, like, let me know, because it would be. I'd love to see it. I bet you're outstanding
Thank you.
as a trial lawyer. So yeah, for sure. I think maybe there's like very few women who are trial attorneys in civil cases. Like, do you think there's like actually a reason for that?
There's a lack of role models, and you definitely hit it on the head. 75% of plaintiffs, trial lawyers, are men. So that is there's a heavy gender imbalance in the profession. We don't see a lot of women to even begin with. As plaintiffs lawyers, we see even less women trial lawyers. And I think there's a false perception, number one, that you make most money at big law, something that we just talked about. Another false perception is big law is the best you can do. Big law or in-house counsel, people think it's kind of like the El Dorado of your career to work at big law and then go in-house, and then they sort of think, what's next? But it's not the best you can do, and at least not for some people. There's a false perception, and I blame Hollywood for that. The trial lawyers have to be eloquent, excellent public speakers.
Yeah, wearing Armani, like walking around, and like they're, it's
they have
not
to be
the case.
likable and easygoing.
Yeah.
I'm none of these things, and it doesn't matter. You can.
What you said? You're all these things.
I'm none of these things. I'm not.
You're none of the. Right. Okay.
Terrified of public speaking. I am not eloquent. I speak with an accent. I don't know what jury think about.
What about easy? Are you easygoing?
I don't know. In some situations, I am, but the trials are kind of nerve-wracking, and I get nervous. And I look at defense counsel and these big law firms, and they're nervous too. They also freaking out. And, losing a trial is not great to explain to their clients why they lost a trial and 7 or 8 figure verdict. I think a lot of trial lawyers don't meet any of these Hollywood standards at all, and they make millions. They hit big verdicts anyway, and I think a lot of women and other minority lawyers need more role models who can come to law schools.
Or mentors, right? Mentors are important. Yeah. Did you have a mentor?
I had a mentor when I switched to the plaintiff's bar. I had several mentors, and I actively, to be honest, sought them out and kind of sent a lot of questions and called. I found the top trial lawyers in Los Angeles, and they're wonderful. Always shared their wisdom, shared the transcripts of their trial with me, always picking up the phone. Plaintiff's bar is really friendly and very supportive of each other. People share samples. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, there's a couple I'm going to hook you up with in California that I've featured, and we have a big network here at Lawyer Stories. So if you ever see anybody on there, like I'll set up the introduction. There's a couple people in my mind right now who I'll introduce you to. So
awesome.
Not that you don't need it, but I'm just saying, like, it's nice to know other people in the area, right?
Oh, absolutely. No, I love meeting new people.
Yeah.
It's a small community. We all know each other. We know,
Community. That's it. I love that. I love community. That's it.
yeah.
So like, what do you think you can do to help women become like a top trial attorney?
The best I can do is just to, you're right, mentor the students or the younger lawyer. And we do have our plaintiff bar, we do have mentorship programs that connect practicing plaintiff lawyers like myself with a specific law student or specific a lawyer who just graduated or somebody who just joined the plaintiff bar.
Right.
So I meet with my mentees. I do talk to them about the practice. I do share any tips, and certainly we work together sometimes, co-counsel cases sometimes if they need any help with, kind of educate them. I think that's what we can do. But I think honestly, top 10 law schools do a really bad job kind of bringing the role models from the plaintiff's bar to their talented students,
Yeah.
to make them think that, big law is not the best you can do, career wise or financially. If you love big law,
Financially, I think financially, when you say best you can do, I think you're speaking in financial terms, right?
right, right.
Okay.
And also, career wise, how many big law lawyers actually try cases then? Not that many,
Right.
right? So, for the several years that I practiced on a defense bar, none of the partners I worked for ever tried a case, ever. You
Wow.
know, so there were partners. They're great at settling cases. They were amazing at litigating and defending cases, but they never actually delivered an opening, closing arguments. They never picked a jury. It's not okay. It's not unusual to see somebody in big law for years doing depositions, but never actually trying a case. So that's the problem with big law. It's not just financial. It's just there is no opportunity to try
The
cases.
experience, if you're a smaller place, if you get out of law school and you work for somebody for 1 or 2 years and you get to go litigate, go in front of the judge, ask questions, ask, cross-examine, you're going to have more valuable experience than maybe just, doing a little bit of research and like making photocopies or something. So
That's absolutely true. And it does make me sad because I'm thinking back about really talented students that I saw in law school doing the mock trial competitions. They were amazing, charismatic, eloquent, easy, public speaking for them was just like second nature. And that doesn't go anywhere. And then you're thinking, they could have been amazing trial lawyers by now. It's just not the route that they took, and that's fine. But
right.
I don't think anybody even invited them to explore that opportunity. And this is what I tell all law students: talent is nothing without opportunity. If you don't
Right.
have an opportunity to try a case, no one will ever know that you can win a certain verdict.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a certain goal, like you had a certain goal of what you wanted to do. And like, where did you come up with, did you come up with the name Workplace Justice Advocates?
I did.
I think it's fantastic, actually. It's
Yeah,
like, I was like, is this, sorry, am I going to say it wrong again? Is this Tamara?
Tamara, yes.
Is this Tamara's Workplace Justice Advocate? Like, because it's such a great name for a firm. So
Yeah, thank you. Initially it was just law offices of Tamara Freeze, which was my name, and then I quickly changed it to Workplace Justice Advocates because that kind of reflects what we do. We do plaintiff.
So tell me about your business. How many attorneys do you have working for you?
So we have two partners, myself and I have another partner.
Okay.
We actually don't have any associates. We have 3 law clerks that work
Okay.
part-time, but they work full-time in the summer. We just gave an offer to one to Elle, and she accepted. So she'll be working for us full-time next fall as an associate, first-year associate. And
So how are you as an employer? Are you a good employer? Do you think you're a good boss?
I think I'm awesome.
Really? How so? What makes you awesome?
I think, because I'm really sensitive now that I'm looking at my clients, the people who lost their jobs, they got fired. I advocate for them. Look, they should have been given a second chance. And they're the people who lost jobs after working 20 years for the employer, and they make one mistake and they're out. So I am the first to argue as an advocate, they were treated unfairly and they should have been given another chance. So it would be highly hypocritical for me to not give, my employees another chance if they screw up. Everybody makes mistakes. I screw up. I make mistakes. I understand that.
Did she
I
screw up or something? Is that what you're?
The people do screw up all the time. This is litigation, so it's
So if somebody screws up, you're saying like you're nice about it. Like
yeah. I
what
try
kind of screw up? Like what's a screw up that you've like?
they'll say they'll file a wrong document, or they send a letter and it's full of typos, or it's not exactly.
So you don't review? You probably review your associates' work though?
I do, and they're awesome. Honestly, everybody who is working for me right now, we do have a great team. It's
well, Tamara, you should. I don't mean to cut you. You should be very proud. I know you are very proud, but you've done some amazing things here. Workplace justice advocates. I think it's incredible. Are we going to get to feature your partner?
No, she works from home.
But we're not going to feature her on Lawyer Stories?
Maybe next time. I haven't even talked to her about.
Okay, all right.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel bad.
That's all right. We have
women law firm, and we're really good friends, and just they do really good work. My law clerks, my partner, my staff, my intake coordinator.
You work closely with your partner, though, right? Like you.
Yeah, we talk every day. I mean, it's during the pandemic, she's working from home full time.
Okay. And you're working at the office, though?
Yeah, I work in the office. I have kids at home, and it's just not compatible with.
Not compatible. Get me to that office, right?
No, I need to go to my office to concentrate, make phone calls, and get the.
Yeah, no, it's great. So, what haven't we covered that you would like to tell everybody, and like how can everybody contact you?
So we are at the Workplace Justice Advocates. We have an office in Beverly Hills and Irvine, California. It's in Orange County.
You have a 90210?
Yeah. What's the zip code there? 90212, I think.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Close.
That's a good question. I don't remember. It's on Wilshire Boulevard, 9595 Wilshire. But it's easy to find us. The address is 400 Spectrum Center Drive. That's in Irvine, and but it's easy to find us online. Easy to find us on Instagram. That's Tamara Freeze. That's my Instagram. That's both personal and law firm. And that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So I think you'd be a great mentor, and I think we definitely want to connect you to some people on Lawyer Stories if it's possible. If you ever see anybody you want to connect with, let me know. You have a terrific story, and I think everything you've done. I know you're super proud and super confident person. So congratulations on all of your successes, and keep in touch with Lawyer Stories. Like if we can do anything for you.
Of course, it's been a pleasure, Ben. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, so Tamara Freeze, everybody. Thanks for the time. Stay on. I'm gonna just close the recording here. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves.
The Lawyer Stories podcast is produced by Marketing the Law. Are you looking at your social presence every day? Potential clients are. Learn how to magnetize your brand with the help of Marketing the Law. Find us on Instagram at Marketing the Law to learn more.